What's up, middle schoolers? Michael here. So, one thing I've noticed hanging out with you middle schoolers for a long time now is that you guys always have a lot of trends that you follow about all kinds of things. All the things that you do and say, there are trends that start with one of you or a group of people, and they spread out, and pretty soon, most of you are watching the same shows and movies because you heard about it from someone else. You end up liking a lot of the same music. You make the same jokes as each other. Oh my goodness, every week that I come into church on Sunday, I hear the same joke from 10 different people. It's awesome. I love it. You guys have trendy dances that you learn, and everyone does the same things. You have trendy clothes and trendy shoes that a lot of people start wanting the same of. It starts with a few people, and it spreads from there. And nowadays, a lot of what becomes popular, it starts on YouTube or other social media. We didn't really have that very much when I was in middle school. Like, it existed, but it wasn't that popular. So the trends that we got involved in were things that we had to make up for ourselves. One of the dumbest trends that we had, at least my group of friends, was that we had this habit of breaking into song in the middle of class when we were supposed to be quiet. Someone would wait for it to get really quiet. The teacher was done talking, everyone was starting an assignment, and one kid would start belting out some song from like a little kid's show that he had memorized because he thought that would be super funny. And when that happened, the rest of us all wanted to learn that song because we knew he was going to do it again in a few days, and we wanted to all do that together. And it became this trend that we did regularly. It was stupid, and it was honestly kind of rude. Don't do that at school. But it's one of the things that happened for us. Now, these are all small and somewhat unimportant things, right? But this happens with big things too. And we have a word to describe this thing that happens when a bunch of people start getting on board that was started by just a few people. We call it a movement. Now, when we use the word movement, we're usually talking about things that are pretty important things that are bigger and more impactful than just a trend. And the movement that we are a part of here at church is a movement of following Jesus. That's exactly what it is, really. The story of Christians. It started with a small group of people that actually knew Jesus himself when he was alive on earth. And when he was gone, they started sharing their experiences with more and more people. And when they were gone, those people continued to share what they experienced and how they knew Jesus with even more people. And that went on until today. And Christianity is all over the place because of this movement. And one huge piece of this movement has always been serving. And when I say serving, I'm just talking about doing good things for other people. I'm talking about individuals choosing to look out for needs of the people around them and choosing to do something about it. And that becoming a part of everyday life for the people that have followed Jesus. Churches have started hospitals and orphanages throughout their history. We do mission trips to places that don't have things that they really need. Serving the people around us has always been a huge part of what we do. But let's be honest, sometimes serving isn't the easiest thing to do. When you hear someone talking about the need or an obligation to serve other people regularly, maybe it sounds to you more like a chore than anything else, and who honestly wants to do chores? You want to do the things that are fun. You want to play your games. You want to hang out with your friends, and it's not always super fun to talk about having a responsibility to go out and constantly be doing things for other people. Maybe you think that what you can do, especially as a middle schooler, can it really make that big of a difference? What serving could you even do that would be that meaningful, that it could be so important? Or maybe you think, like serving's cool, I do it sometimes, but it's hard to keep up. Maybe you've experienced things like around the holidays. You might go do some service project with your church group or with your family or friends, and that's cool, and it can be fun in the moment. But no one really considers doing that stuff constantly, do they? It's really difficult to keep on caring every single day about the needs that are all around us. See, so often we serve other people when it's convenient for us. If other people are already doing it and we can just join along with them, well, that can be fun, right? Because that's just like hanging out with people, but you're doing something good in the process. Or if you get to go on a cool trip in the process of whatever that serving activity is, that's cool too, right? Or if it suits our mood at the time, if it's good for us, well, then that can sound kind of fun. Serving is easier to choose when we can see how it benefits us. But when we think of serving that way, we're kind of missing the bigger picture. We're missing the movement that God is actually calling the people that choose to follow him to be a part of. And so, to understand what the movement of following Jesus through serving is really all about, we can look at the examples of Jesus himself. Over the course of his life, Jesus did a lot more than just prepare to die, prepare to end his life so that we could accept the sacrifice that he made for us and we could be with him when we die. Like, that wasn't the entire point. Otherwise, it could have been a lot shorter, right? But he had an entire ministry while he was here. He did a lot of teaching to big crowds of people because he wanted to teach people a new way of living, not just for the sake of where their souls are going to be forever, but for the benefit of people on earth while they're still there. And he did all this teaching, but one really important thing that he did was he made disciples. He took 12 people and he made these guys his best friends. They went everywhere with him. They did everything together. And the reason he did this is so that some individuals could truly know him and truly understand what he was like, what he would do in all kinds of different situations, because they got to see all of those situations happen in front of them. And they could learn what it really meant to live like Jesus lived. And so today, I want to show you one of the things that he did while he was just hanging out with that group of guys that he called his best buds. In John 13, it says this: "He laid aside his outer garments, and taking a towel, he tied it around his waist, and then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him." Okay, so they're hanging out at a house and Jesus just decides he's going to wash everyone's feet. That's super weird. What's the point of that? Well, let me explain why this was so significant. Because at the time, there was actually a really big need for people to wash their feet every time they went into a house. Like, roads, they weren't like our roads today. It was just dirt everywhere. And shoes weren't like the shoes we have today. They were either like just sandals or they were nothing at all. You might walk around barefoot outside all day. And so your feet have all kinds of stuff on them. Dirt and things that people just drop on the ground and things that animals just drop on the ground as they walk up and down the streets all day. So there was a big need to be clean when you got in the house. Now, it was not just unusual, it was unheard of for like friends that were of equal status to wash each other's feet. You either wash your own feet, because that's gross. No one wants to touch your gross feet. Like, are you kidding me? No one wants to do that. Or if you had a servant, that was the servant's job to do that for you because, well, you're in charge of them, right? That is the kind of role that would do a thing like this. So it was really bizarre, especially from the disciples' perspective, that Jesus, this guy that they think of as like their boss, their authority, and has been told to them that he's like the Son of God himself. He's about as high of a person as you can get. So they thought it was really strange when he decided to start washing their feet, and they protested and argued. They're like, Jesus, you don't need to be doing this. Why are you doing it? And so the story continues here. In verse 12, it says, do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you also should do just as I have done to you. Jesus had a really important reason for doing this. He says, look, guys, you think that I'm your leader. You think I'm your Lord, your authority, and you're right. I am all of those things. And look what I do. I do what a servant would do for you. That's what I'm choosing to do, even though I have this position, this authority. So that's what you should do for other people as well. That's it. In order to lead people, Jesus served them. And then he tells his followers to do the same. He says, I've given you this example that you should also do just as I have done for you, for everyone else. That is what being a follower of Jesus actually looks like. It's doing what he did, making it our mission to lead others to knowing God and learning to step into the purpose that he has for them. And he says that the way that we do that is by serving them. And we're not talking about just sort of trying to be nicer to other people. Oh, if we do that, then we're being a great example of Jesus, right? No, anyone can do that. That doesn't point people to following Jesus. The world is full of people that do some pretty amazing things for others. There are all kinds of incredible charities and movements that are led by people that don't even know Jesus. This moment was powerful to the disciples because it was something no one would do. No one would ever do this anywhere in their society. And so I think that we should be asking ourselves, how could we be serving other people in a way that no one else would? That is what Jesus is trying to show him. Thinking about who the people are that get totally ignored and what meaningful ways would we maybe be able to serve them? What are some needs that we can see that no one else pays any attention to at all? Who are some of the people in our lives that don't expect anything from us? They never expect us to do anything. How crazy would it be for them if you started regularly looking for ways to serve them? The early church, they did this. They did it in a lot of ways, but one really awesome example is that they made it their job to begin to take care of orphans in their community. See, at the time, it was, man, this is going to sound terrible. At the time, it was kind of normal for people to just abandon children that were born with disabilities or just weren't going to fit very well into the family that they were born in. People just decided, look, I don't care. I don't want to deal with this child. And it was normal. And so Christians that wanted to follow Jesus, they chose to represent the compassion of their Savior in the lives of those people. And they made it their mission to seek out the children that didn't have the family that they needed, and they chose to fill that need everywhere that they saw it. And it completely changed the culture. Even outside of the church now, we don't do things like that. The idea of taking care of the fatherless and the motherless is normal now. And that's largely because of people choosing to follow Jesus and do what he would do. Individual lives and entire communities can be transformed when doing something that we don't have to do becomes a regular part of life. Look, I am a regular person like you, and I don't feel like it was that long ago that I was in middle school. I remember how I thought. I remember the things that I cared about on a regular day as a middle schooler. I know that most of the time I was just thinking about what I wanted to do, constantly looking around for ways to serve others. That doesn't always sound fun. I know it doesn't sound exciting or interesting to all of you. And besides that, you might think it's impossible for you to do things that make a real significant difference in the lives of others. And so what I would encourage you to do is to take one step, just one. First, just look for a need, one need around you in the lives of one person or a group of people that you can see, a way to serve someone else that you don't have to do, something a person needs that no one expects you to do anything about. And then it's really simple. Meet that need. Maybe this looks like donating what money you might have to a great cause or someone you may know that's in need of something. Maybe it's showing kindness to someone that no one else at school ever treats nicely. Maybe it's spending time with your siblings that you don't really like hanging out with just because you know it would mean a lot to them. Maybe it's doing chores that your parents didn't even ask you to do. Can you imagine how crazy that would be for your parents if you actually started doing chores, not just the ones that you were told to do, which is hard enough, but like extra ones just to serve them? That would be wild, right? Okay, I could probably do one or two of those things, but I can't do anything big, right? And I also can't force myself to just care about everyone more than I already do. I can't just force myself to want to serve all the time if I don't just feel that now, can I? Look, that's the whole point. Probably not. We need God's help to be people that serve. That's why it's such a powerful thing, because it requires that God come alongside us and make us capable of things that we're not capable of on our own, inviting the power of God into our actions to make a real difference in the lives of people. So, as you look around for needs in the lives of others around you, talk to God about them. Talk to God about what you see and ask for His help to have the heart that He has for the people in the world. Not because you have to, but because you know that Jesus did it for you first. We are called to be people that choose to serve and to do something even when we don't have to do it. So, as you leave today, I just want you to think about this question. What's one need that you see that you could meet this week? Guys, I'm so glad that you chose to join us this morning. I love you all. I miss you a lot, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.